Anna was born in the vibrant and bustling city of Nairobi, where life was a constant struggle for those without wealth. Her parents, Sarah and Michael, were hardworking but poor. Sarah sold vegetables at the local market, waking up before dawn to secure the best spot to sell her goods, while Michael worked as a security guard in a small office building. Despite their combined efforts, they could barely make ends meet and lived with their 3 children in a tiny one-room apartment in a crowded neighborhood. Anna was the youngest and brightest of the 3 siblings. Sarah and Michael had high hopes for her, believing she could achieve what they never could, a better life free from poverty. However, with their limited income, they could only send her to an underfunded public school. The classrooms were overcrowded and the teachers were overworked. Despite these challenges, Anna was determined to make the most of her education, holding on to the dream of escaping the hardships that surrounded her family. As Anna grew older, those dreams began to fade. Without money, the path to a better life seemed blocked at every turn. After finishing school, the possibility of attending university was an unattainable dream. Her older siblings were already working to help support the family, and now it was Anna's turn. With few options available, she took a job as a cleaner in the grand mansion of a billionaire named Jonathan. Jonathan was one of the richest men in Nairobi, known for his vast business empire and extravagant lifestyle. He was married to Elizabeth, a beautiful and sophisticated woman admired by many for her grace and style. Their life was one of luxury, far removed from the struggles of people like Anna and her family. The mansion where Anna worked was a symbol of Jonathan's immense wealth: marble floors, golden chandeliers, and walls adorned with expensive works of art. Each day as Anna cleaned the mansion, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of envy. The contrast between Jonathan and Elizabeth's life and her own was stark. While her parents struggled to put food on the table, Jonathan and Elizabeth lived in opulence, their every need catered to by an army of servants. Anna's resentment grew as she continued to work in the grand mansion. She watched as Elizabeth attended glamorous events and charity galas, dressed in designer clothes, leading a life that seemed perfect from the outside. Jonathan, on the other hand, was rarely home, often traveling for business or entertaining guests. Despite his marriage to Elizabeth, he was known for his reckless behavior, especially when it came to women. His affairs were an open secret, and he never bothered to hide them. As Anna scrubbed the floors and dusted the furniture, she began to imagine what it would be like to have Jonathan's wealth. She pictured herself in Elizabeth's shoes, living a life of luxury and comfort, far away from the poverty and hardship that defined her existence. The more she thought about it, the more she wanted that life. Her desire for wealth and a better life for her family grew stronger each day. Anna's feelings of resentment deepened as she watched Jonathan's careless behavior. He would come home with different women, acting as if he had no wife at all. Elizabeth, who often traveled for charity work or social events, seemed unaware or simply indifferent to his actions. The stark contrast between Jonathan's life and Anna's situation fueled her dreams of escaping her own hardships and providing a better life for her family. As the days passed, her envy turned into a dangerous obsession. She began to plot how she could use Jonathan's reckless behavior to her advantage. One evening, while cleaning Jonathan's bedroom, Anna stumbled upon something that sparked an idea: a used item carelessly discarded after one of Jonathan's many affairs. She realized that if she could somehow become pregnant with Jonathan's child, she could demand financial support from him. The thought was both terrifying and thrilling. It was risky, but the potential reward was too great to ignore. Anna knew she needed help to make her plan work. She went to a doctor who could assist her, but he demanded a large sum of money for the procedure. Anna was shocked but felt desperate. She agreed and managed to gather the money by borrowing from friends and selling some belongings. The procedure was done. Weeks after the procedure, Anna found out she was pregnant. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was her chance to change her life. She told her parents, Sarah and Michael. They were angry at first, especially Michael, who was disappointed. But when Anna explained her plan to get financial support from Jonathan so they could live in luxury and forget their lives of hardship, Michael's anger turned to hope. Sarah was worried but saw the potential for a better life. They began to focus on the possibilities of using the money to improve their situation. After Anna told her parents about the pregnancy, she suddenly stopped going to work. Jonathan noticed her absence and tried calling her, but her phone was switched off. He was worried and confused but didn't know where Anna lived. Since he couldn't find her, Jonathan hired a new cleaner to replace her. As time went on, Jonathan started to forget about Anna. He became absorbed in his work and personal life, but he still had an underlying feeling of unease. His marriage to Elizabeth was becoming increasingly troubling. They had been married for years, and despite his hopes, they still had no children. Elizabeth seemed uninterested in starting a family and was often away on her charity trips. Elizabeth's constant traveling made Jonathan feel even more isolated. When Elizabeth was home, she was often distracted and not engaged with him. Their conversations were short and lacked warmth. Jonathan felt that their relationship was growing colder and more distant. He tried to talk to Elizabeth about having a child, but she always responded with vague promises and excuses. Her frequent absences and lack of interest in their family life only deepened Jonathan's frustration. He felt increasingly unhappy and unfulfilled despite his wealth and success. Jonathan began to think more about his personal life and his marriage. The absence of a child and Elizabeth's distance left him feeling empty. He was haunted by the emptiness in his life and the growing rift between him and his wife. 9 months later, Anna gave birth to twin boys. She felt a deep sense of triumph. "Yes, I've succeeded. Welcome to life," she thought. "These boys are Jonathan's children, and they will inherit his wealth." One afternoon, Jonathan was relaxing at home when the doorbell rang. He answered it to find a woman introducing herself as Sarah, Anna's mother. Sarah looked nervous but was determined to speak with him. She informed Jonathan that Anna had given birth to his children, 2 boys. Jonathan at first found the news hard to believe and laughed it off. "What are you saying, madam? Is your daughter some kind of magician or miracle worker? I never even had relations with her. How can I be responsible for children I didn't father? How is that possible? Have you come to the wrong house? If you have nothing useful to say, please leave." Sarah was torn and struggled to find the right words. She knew the real story, that Anna had used an item Jonathan had left behind to get pregnant. Sarah was afraid to tell him this, worried that Jonathan might react angrily or even have her arrested for Anna's deception. Feeling trapped and unsure of what to do next, Sarah left Jonathan's house quickly. Back at home, Sarah told Anna about the conversation with Jonathan. Anna listened carefully and thought deeply. After hearing the details, she decided she would confront Jonathan herself. She realized that explaining everything directly to him might be the best way to resolve the situation and secure the support she needed. Anna, feeling both determined and anxious, decided it was time to face Jonathan. She knew this meeting could change everything. With her heart racing, she went to Jonathan's mansion and asked to speak with him in private. Jonathan, curious about what Anna had to say, agreed to see her. Anna, trying to keep her nerves in check, began to reveal the truth. She confessed that she had taken one of his discarded items and used it to get herself pregnant. She explained that she was desperate and saw this as her only chance to secure a better future for herself and her children. Anna admitted it wasn't right, but felt she had no other choice. As Jonathan listened, his expression turned from shock to anger. He couldn't believe what she had done and was furious that she had manipulated the situation to trap him. His emotions were a mix of betrayal and rage. Jonathan made it clear he would never accept the children as his. He told Anna that she would soon hear from his lawyers and warned her that she could end up in jail for what she had done. When Elizabeth returned home from one of her frequent trips, she immediately sensed that something was off. Jonathan was more distant than usual, and she noticed a tension in the air that she couldn't quite place. Elizabeth, always sharp and curious, decided to dig around a bit. It didn't take long before she overheard rumors swirling around town. Rumors that her husband had gotten their former cleaner, Anna, pregnant. The news hit Elizabeth like a stone. How could Jonathan do such a thing? It's not possible, she thought. Her anger boiled over the moment she stepped into their home. That evening, Elizabeth confronted Jonathan. "Is it true?" she demanded, her voice trembling with a mix of rage and disbelief. "What have you been hiding? Did you really get Anna pregnant?" Jonathan stood there speechless, not knowing what to say or do. After a moment, he told her what Anna had explained to him earlier. Elizabeth became furious and was determined to protect her marriage. She decided to confront Anna directly. She didn't know where Anna lived, so she asked the security man who had worked at their mansion for years. After some hesitation, he gave Elizabeth Anna's address. Elizabeth went to a small, run-down apartment building where Anna lived. The neighborhood was poor, and nothing like the luxurious life Elizabeth was used to, but that only made her more determined to put an end to the situation. When Anna opened the door, she was surprised to see Elizabeth standing there. Elizabeth didn't waste any time and walked straight into the apartment. Her voice was cold as she spoke, telling Anna she knew about her plan to trap Jonathan and break up their family. Anna tried to stay calm and said, "All I wanted was for him to take responsibility for our children. I'm not trying to take him from you." But Elizabeth was furious. "Listen to me," she warned. "Jonathan will never be with you, and your children will never be part of our family." Elizabeth warned Anna to stay away from her husband and family, or she would make her regret it. With that, Elizabeth left, leaving Anna standing in her apartment, shaken but still determined to fight for her children's future. The confrontation made it clear that the battle over Jonathan and the children was far from over. Her voice was cold as she spoke, telling Anna she knew about her plan to trap Jonathan and break up their family. Anna tried to stay calm and said, "All I wanted was for him to take responsibility for our children. I'm not trying to take him from you." But Elizabeth was furious. "Listen to me," she warned. "Jonathan will never be with you, and your children will never be part of our family." Elizabeth warned Anna to stay away from her husband and family, or she would make her regret it. With that, Elizabeth left, leaving Anna standing in her apartment, shaken but still determined to fight for her children's future. The confrontation made it clear that the battle over Jonathan and the children was far from over. Jonathan and Elizabeth's life slowly returned to normal, with the challenges they had faced serving as a stark reminder of the importance of trust and loyalty. They welcomed their new child with joy, embracing the chance to start anew. The couple moved forward, stronger and more united than before. Anna continued to build her life independently, finding strength in her role as a mother. The experiences had changed her, and she was determined to create a better future for her family without relying on deceit. The story ends with a message about the consequences of our choices and the possibility of redemption. Each character learned valuable lessons about honesty, responsibility, and the true meaning of wealth and happiness.